It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for April 14th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Suicide Squad is officially delayed. Minecraft Legends gets reviewed and more. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Bailey Meyers. Bailey, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm sleepy. How are you?
Yes. I woke you up over there on the West Coast. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, rude.
I actually am. I'm a little bit like, of course, I forgot. My daughter yesterday was just slamming on my Stream Deck, and she turned on the pumpkin transition, and that's how we went into today's show. So
I was wondering why we were having a spectacular episode, but I was feeling pretty happy about it.
It's because having toddlers in the house is like having poltergeists. So this show is haunted. Yeah. It's like you'll just walk into a room. Yes, you get it, right? You walk into a room, you're like, why are there 7 chairs stacked up and then a bunch of books on top of that? How did this happen? The answer is poltergeists / toddlers. But Bailey, why don't you tell people about yourself? You're over at Fandom. You do a lot of different things. Why don't you tell people like what you do? Tell them about yourself.
I'm a writer and producer at Fandom. My major focus is honest game trailers, but I'm all over. Anywhere they need me, I'm there to be funny and talk about video games.
Yeah, and then you also took a train from LA to San Diego, and we were very jealous. Me and Jan wouldn't stop talking about how we messed up because I got stuck in a long traffic jam, and I ended up playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the back of a car. But even that could not help with the 4-hour ride that should have been 90 minutes. So that train ride was. Tell us more about that, because I'm super jealous.
Well, the thing I love most about trains is that anything that happens, I'm not responsible. So
exactly.
If I'm in a car, I have to be focused. They don't like it when you're drinking. They're typically not like, fans. Don't do that.
Yes. There's signs and stuff. Yeah.
Good thing here. You shouldn't do that. On the train, they're like, you can buy 2 half bottles of wine per person per transaction. And I was like, all right, let's go. Like, I was having a great time. I sat in business class. So I had like they were like coming around with like early morning Trulies, like, here you go, welcome to business. And I'm like, oh, this is business.
Yep,
I'm drinking
that's how I do
9
business.
a.m. Truly. And then just sitting perfectly still with my feet up and all the legroom in the world, looking at the ocean go by.
You probably like just strolled past us, because the train tracks are like right next to the highway. And so we looked over, we saw the train a couple times, and you probably just like slowly went past us as we were stuck in traffic. So it might
have been me.
I think trains probably are the most conducive to an irresponsible lifestyle, which is why I'm such a big fan of them. I do like the idea of just not having to be focused on anything except for the Trulies, of course. Yes.
I love rail transit. Hot take, but I think that we as Americans should have a better transit system.
Yes.
We're getting political here.
Yeah. You want to, wow, I didn't know you were going to get so incendiary.
Make me wake up at 7 a.m. I'm going to start talking politics immediately.
Listen, everyone stand back. Here she goes. This is her political platform.
I like trains. I want more.
You and young children and weird dads that have like the little train cap all have that in common. Yeah. You love trains.
I'm a train dad.
Yes,
for sure.
Train dad. Yes, wonderful. All right, we got to get into this mess, but before we do, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was delayed to 2024. This comes from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed to 2024. In a social media post, developer Rocksteady confirmed that the action game is now slated to release on February 2nd, 2024. Here's a quote: "We have made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There's much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year." That comes from Rocksteady. This is not surprising. We heard the rumors. I've in the reporting, Jason Schreier was like, "Oh, it's going to get delayed." I heard 2024. Here it is. That's so from its date when it was supposed to come out, Bailey, to when it's coming out now, 9 months, 9 extra months. That's not enough time to like completely change this game, but it is a big boy delay, right?
I mean, you can grow a whole human person in 9 months. Like,
Exactly.
that's a very long. I mean, to me, this implies that they're just starting from scratch. They're like, we're gestating a new one. Everyone, sit tight.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, 9 months is a long time. It's longer than the typical delay we've seen in the last couple of years from most games, where it's like we're gonna get like 2 extra months. But they definitely can't like completely rework everything about this game. It's still gonna be that game we saw in that showcase in February, for the most part, where it is an action shooter with like jump around, like float in the air gameplay and a lot of loot. And okay, I think what they could probably do is like really sand down the rough edges, though, right?
Yeah. So I think that Gotham Knights might have scared DC gaming a little bit, in that like people aren't just gonna buy the superhero name if it's not a particularly great game. And I know a lot fewer people are rooting for this one than they were rooting for Gotham Knights. So this feels very like a little bit to the drawing board, like post that kind of disastrous preview, which I respect. You know?
Yeah, and it's like that you could see kind of like the math working out in their heads. They did have Hogwarts Legacy make them a lot of money, so like we can move things around. And well, when are we going to move it? Well, we can move it to later this year. And it's like, okay, but that puts us right next to Spider-Man 2. And do we really want to draw those comparisons? Can we just like go a little bit later, get a little bit extra time, and then take that extra time to do a lot more to this game than we would have otherwise? Internally, apparently, they're saying this is about a polish to the game. I think that's almost certainly true, but I think that polish is going to be more aggressive than the typical round of polish. And they probably will go in there, and even if they don't get rid of what we all are assuming are like the live service aspects of the game, I think they will try to find a way to present them in a way that is much more appealing to a wider range of people who are coming into this game. And I think they probably will have a good chance of doing that. I still think, though, if the game underneath is what we saw in that February showcase, most people are going to be like, I don't know if this is for me, which makes me wonder, is it worth this delay at all? Like, they could have just ripped off the Band-Aid, right, and just released it?
Well, I mean, maybe when they were most of the way done, they realized they were adapting the wrong Suicide Squad, and they were supposed to be doing the James Gunn one, but they did the David Ayers one.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, there's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, like when they try to like match up these games with the movies, and it's like these things operate on completely different timelines, and James Gunn wants to kind of make the video game universe part of the movie universe. I'm like, I don't think you know what that's going to entail. Suicide Squad was a hot property there for a little bit, even though the first movie was terrible, just absolute trash. And
oh yeah, it was a garbage fire.
But it made
was so bad.
It made a lot of money, and then it's like, okay, that second movie comes out. And yes, at what cost? I really like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, great. That one was great.
Yes, but that one also was like, it kind of fizzled into a world where that was like, hey, we remember the last one kind of sucking. This wasn't in theaters, and now we're pretty far removed from that today. And in 9 months, Suicide Squad is just not going to be as relevant, I think, as it is even now, which isn't much at all. So it's like, this seems like a risky thing to be like, let's just keep pushing Suicide Squad down the road, and boy, it'll still matter then. I don't know. Do you think Suicide Squad can still matter in February of next year?
I think that if nerds like you and me can't get excited about it, then I don't know who can. But as you kept repeatedly telling us during DreamHack, you're not an entertainment journalist. So
that's right.
It's possible. I think the fans of the property are going to be excited, but there's also like, you also have already, it's a niche of, it has to be fans of the property and fans of playing video games. So, which isn't as niche as some things are, but I do think that they are climbing. It's sort of an uphill battle on this one, I think.
Yeah, and I think
that makes any sense at all.
Oh, it does, and I think they're kind of feeling that, and that's things aren't lining up perfectly for them like they have for some of their other games recently. So it's like, this is they're not exactly sure what to do with this one, and they can't afford to push this one way out, so that's what they're doing. I will be interested the next time we actually get to see this game, if it looks any different at all. I mean, for me, seeing those trailers and the gameplay and the big purple glowy weak spots on stuff like helicopters, just like, this looks really dumb. I don't like, it just looks so just handing you like, you could shoot a helicopter,
realistic.
but it's, yeah,
helicopters all glow purple like that.
Exactly.
To
and
let you know that you can shoot them down. Don't
right.
do
Yeah.
that, though.
Otherwise, it's like, man, a helicopter, indestructible. I would never even think to shoot a helicopter. Maybe they changed some of that stuff, but I don't know. I think at a certain point they probably like people like Jeff Grubb are overreacting to that, and we will like, this will be totally fine once the audience that comes to these kinds of games actually shows up. I don't know how they're thinking about that. I do know internally they think the game's fun. So it's like, if the game's fun and it could show that like right now, again, I go back to a 9-month delay is an expensive thing these days. You got to pay every single developer for that much longer without making any money from the game actually selling. So good luck with that. I'm gonna
play it either way.
Right. This game was going to be coming out in a very busy time of the year, and I was like, I guess I was going to have to play this. I was going to have to try to figure out what this thing actually is in a time of year where it's like, and Zelda's right over there, and all these other things. And Final Fantasy 16 is coming out soon.
Are we allowed to talk about it 2 days in a row? Because when I saw you guys talked about it yesterday, I was so mad. I was like, I have so many thoughts about this.
I think I gave us a reason to talk about. You know what though? But you know what? No, tell me your thoughts, because that's the thing. I can only think about that right now. That's what is taking 100% of my brain.
Yeah, just like one long, high-pitched shrieking noise. I'm just so excited. This is like it. What a banger of a trailer!
It's
my God,
really good. It's very good. And I kind of don't blame other games wanting to get out of the way.
Now?
Yeah, I was good. That was the story I almost included. I didn't. That people are thirsty for Ganondorf. Actually, I got the Matt Mercer story, so that'll be like a good reason to talk about it too. But I think he is pretty hot. Yeah, this is the hottest he's ever been, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can't all be Pig Ganondorf, obviously, but this guy's a good close second.
Okay.
And I am just looking respectfully.
Sure, of course, yes. It's the female gaze is nothing but respect, of course. I continue to be super excited about that game. I think that game feels like it's going to be bigger than anything else, just period. And I can imagine you have Suicide Squad being like, and us too. It's okay. Yeah, it's easy to move.
Yeah.
It's easy to move that game.
That's actually when they're releasing Horizon 3. They're too embarrassed to say anything.
I like Jan Cho.
I think they are dropping DLC at like that same time.
They totally are. Yeah. Although to be fair,
Burning Sands.
It looked really good. I'm not a fan of those games too much, but that DLC, because it's like next gen only, it looked pretty impressive. So hopefully they can do something with that.
I love Horizon, so to me it always looks really good, and every single time they announce something and then a big game comes out, I'm like, oh, guys.
They're doing it to themselves at this point.
It's the bridesmaid.
Yes, they're just like, we can be the big boy. Well, good luck with that.
The DLC is next week, says the chat. Oh, thank God.
Okay, there you go. It's gonna get out of the way of it then. So this game was gonna come out a busy time of year, the Suicide Squad. February, okay. This is probably, Mike pointed out to me last night on our other show. It's like, this is probably the game furthest out that has a firm release date. That February timeframe is not some safe like harbor though, where they're like, okay, well, we were going to be going right next to Zelda and all these other things in Final Fantasy 16. So why don't we move to February and nothing else will come out then? A lot of games are going to get announced and come out around that time. So if that's their
horror movies,
that's right. Yeah, is that when they come out? Is that because I know that December's like the Oscar time, and then
February is the dump zone. It's just when all the bad movies with no Oscars aspirations just gets unceremoniously thrust upon the world, for better or for worse. I believe Megan was a February release. So many good February releases. I just love a bad movie. Grubb, you know this. We've had a whole discussion about Raise Your Voice starring Hilary Duff. I told you the plot of it in detail and made you watch one of the scenes. And I'm
1000% that is the next movie I'm watching for sure. So Raise Your Voice starring Hilary Duff. You always made a point. Like, is the actual title starring Hilary Duff? Is that like what it is? Because you make a point of pointing that out every time.
I have just called it. I just want it to be. I want it to be very clear what kind of a movie it is.
Okay, you want to give it an air of credibility, sure.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, it's got esteemed actress Hilary Duff is in it. John Corbett is in it as her creepy teacher, who now plays her love interest on a different thing she's on. Let's not think about it too hard. Kat Dennings is in it, slumming it for real. Like, it's just so good.
I am watching that. Maybe we do a film in 40s of that. It's our talk over movie podcast. Yeah.
I watched it with my Twitch community pretty recently, and everyone was dazzled.
So Suicide Squad going to the dumb zone. All right, then. I'm very excited for it to be the king of the dumb zone. Congratulations, Suicide Squad. All right, let's move along here. The Super Mario Brothers movie will become the highest grossing video game movie ever today. This comes from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Big Eddie Day. The Super Mario Brothers movie is going to become the highest grossing video game movie of all time this weekend, an achievement that the film will reach after just about a week in theaters. Through April 13th, the Super Mario Brothers movie has earned more than $437 million globally, which is just shy of the $439 million that Warcraft has made as the number one highest grossing video game movie of all time. The Super Mario Brothers movie should surpass Warcraft and set the record today, April 14th. That sounds right. This happened way faster than even I was expecting. I knew this movie was going to make $1 billion. We've said that a bunch of times on this show previously. It's gonna make $1 billion. It's in an Illumination animated film, and Super Mario. Those things just are a recipe for making a lot of money. This sprint to almost $500 million, probably by the middle of next week, is just nuts. Is this what you were expecting?
Yes, absolutely. I think people are always surprised when kids' movies do well, but like theaters have opened up again. It's sleek and shiny and getting decent reviews. Like parents have heard of Mario. There are a lot of factors. It's like, this is why the Wii did well. It's just like about as it's designed to be accessible to a non-gaming audience. And Nintendo slam dunked it once again. Wii's highest grossing system of all time, right? Like, or am I totally wrong about that?
I mean, it was one of the highest. It's one of the best sellings. It definitely, especially with that audience, with that wide audience. It didn't sell as many games because that audience didn't buy a lot of games, but in terms of selling, it sold a lot of consoles. Absolutely,
yes. So it's they're really more about like getting as many butts in seats as possible. I think Illumination was the exact right company to hire if that's what you're going for, because they did the Minions.
Yep, and it's all paying off. I think that it is evidence that families are going back to the theater. Also, I think it's evidence that like you can have these broadly appealing IPs actually appeal to that broad audience, because it's like parents have heard of it, but a lot of parents just straight up grew up playing Mario. And they're bringing their kids, and then there's this segment.
40 years old now,
right? Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm 40, and that was my first games basically. And it's like, but then there's this segment like between kids and myself where it's like it's all of them love and have played Mario, and they're showing up as well. But apparently, the biggest audience for this movie was 18 to 36-year-olds. So it's like I believe that, and it's like that exactly. I believe that too, because it makes a lot of sense. And also, you kind of can't make this much money without hitting all of those demographics simultaneously. But Hollywood's got to kind of be reeling. You are an entertainment person, right? So it's like, what do you think like Hollywood studios are thinking right now based on this?
I think that they are probably saying to themselves the same thing that a lot of headlines keep saying, which is, are video game adaptations good now? Just ignoring the fact that they've been good for literally years at this point. Mm-hmm. Starting with Uncharted. Wowie zowie, what a film.
I still have not seen that movie.
I saw it alone on Valentine's Day at a press screening, and they didn't even give us popcorn.
The way Tom Holland intended. Absolutely. Like I would have it no other way. The most romantic experience a person can have.
My review of it was very honest, which was that if it was like a really hot day out and I just wanted some like corporate air conditioning and nothing was playing that I was interested in seeing that was new, I would sit in the theater and watch it again. I'm gonna check it out. I've still never seen it. I'm like I didn't have the urge to see it in the theater, but it is just like on, is it HBO Max? It's on one of those. So I think I'll check it out and watch it at home. But it's not great.
Yeah,
but it's charming.
It seemed very forgettable. It's kind of what I felt.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, hey, we haven't forgot it now. We're giving it its flowers today,
Hey,
I guess.
shout out to Uncharted. It sure is mediocre.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, exactly. The Mario movie, I honestly, the Mario movie's like, yeah, it's okay too, but it's like, it does everything else so well, except for I don't mind them too much, except for they are like, every single needle drop that they do in the movie has been done better in another movie, and it's like, man,
Right.
why it's Illumination. That's just what they do. They don't
Yeah.
they don't care that's like this song was used better in Shrek. They're like, kids don't fucking watch Shrek. That's you millennials. What are you talking about? So
Oh wow, 2001.
yep. Yeah, it's really sad when you think about it. All right.
Wildest thing that happened that year. I thought very briefly about not saying that, and then whatever.
That kills me. That was fantastic. I think they might make another Super Mario Brothers movie. I think there's a chance for that. Yeah.
They made $1 billion.
Yes. I mean, it probably will make easily $1 billion. It's probably going to be close to being the highest grossing movie of this year. And could go on to make like 1.5 billion. Do you think they were playing wait and see with this movie, and now they're gonna fast track a bunch of other Nintendo stuff, or what?
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it'll all be as high quality as this one was. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah. Do you think Illumination could do a Zelda?
Oh, I don't want them to.
Yeah.
I would prefer if they didn't.
Yep. Same. I'd rather them just kind of maybe not touch that one, and Nintendo find a different partner.
Yeah, I'm okay with them doing Mario, but I run into this problem with video game adaptations a lot, where I think the ones that are best are the ones that aren't just trying to perfectly lovingly recreate a linear story. And don't get me wrong, I really loved The Last of Us. I thought, this is not me calling out The Last of Us, but at certain points it was sort of like they did give us like, this is the reason to watch it in addition to having played the game. You don't just have to play the game again.
Right.
Like they gave us those things, but a lot of the impressive stuff was like, wow, they recreated that scene from the game I played perfectly. And whereas I think that like Arcane is like the platonic ideal of video game adaptation for me, because they took these like really well, like really lore rich characters that already exist and actually gave them a story like worthy of the lore that they had already had. And so it was, and I thought it was really beautifully done, and done with a lot of artistry and like passion for the media. And with Super Mario, I think it's sort of that like in between, where I wouldn't necessarily say like every time Chris Pratt talks about being Mario, he doesn't seem like he's really, really passionate about the role, but it is objectively a children's movie from Illumination. So a lot of the like, here's what we got for adults is really just going to be references to things we've heard of, which works for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I do think it is still better for me than just another like shot for shot adaptation.
I agree 100%.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not a Last of Us person, so I wasn't like lining up for the show, but like hearing the show, it's like it's a lot like it's basically the game again. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know if I had to choose as someone who hasn't seen either or played the game or seen the show. Like, well, I think I would just be like, I'll just go play the game is how I'll actually interact with that. But that's not really a criticism for. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that show, so I'm like, don't keep doing that for people who like that. But for me, I'm like, yeah, I want something that feels like a strong take on it. And the Mario movie is like in kind of like has a foot in both of those camps, where it's like it is an adaptation. It's not trying to tell a straight story. There is no straight story from a Mario game to tell, really. So it's like that also helped them, I think, to be like, we can take liberties here, but we're going to kind of keep it in the reins of what if Mario did have a very strong narrative, and we were like being really honest to that. It's like it still feels like it's going in that direction, even though they were free to do what they wanted with it. I saw someone in chat mention Aardman doing a Kirby game, the people that do Wallace and Gromit or movie. Oh. I would love that. Give me that claymation. Hell yeah.
I was not on board until you said it was Wallace and Gromit, and then I was like, okay, they're not going to make him talk,
right?
Yeah, like,
exactly. You could just make some noises.
Famously have a character who does not talk.
Yep.
Like they know it can be done. All right, I would watch a claymation Kirby. Kirby deserves to be claymation.
Exactly.
That would be sick as hell.
Everyone in chat says yes, except for Jan, who is afraid of claymation. So there you go.
Wow.
All right, let's move along here to here's who's
Jan has
voicing
disappointed
Hot
me in so many ways.
Ganondorf. Oh, what's that?
So Jan has disappointed me in so many
I mean,
ways.
just,
Although I did respect the simple and clean shout out on yesterday's show. We were just like gushing over that song in San Diego last weekend.
I think about it constantly, like I said. All right, yeah, here's who's voicing Hot Ganondorf in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This comes once again from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom brings back series villain Ganondorf, and he will be voiced by none other than prolific voice actor and Critical Role Dungeon Master Matthew Mercer. Mercer said on Twitter that it is an immense honor to play Ganondorf, adding that he hopes to be able to do the character justice in the highly anticipated sequel to Breath of the Wild. Mercer is known for voicing Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 6, Deadshot in Injustice 2, and Cole Cassidy in Overwatch. I have to say it that way. Cole Cassidy, among others. Mercer, 40, is also a boss at Critical Role Productions, and he's the same age as me and much more successful, so that's disappointing. I'm a fan of this. This is cool.
Does he have the sweatshirt pile, though? I don't think so.
No, exactly. Does his kids pile up a bunch of sweatshirts in the corner and lay them in while they're crying at him? I don't think so.
Probably not.
It is strange to me to be like, we know who the famous voice actor is for a Nintendo character. Because for so long they just didn't even do voice acting in most of their games. Like Zelda games were notorious for that, and Breath of the Wild had it had voice acting. It had full on just performances in there. It seems like they're going even further with it this time. I think that's a good choice for the series. How do you feel about it?
I am cool with it. This Matt Mercer has done some great work that I have watched and enjoyed, and I am happy to see him doing great work in another thing that I'm going to watch and enjoy. And I'm so excited to be like, how do you want to do this? And then kill his ass. Oh my God. Oh, sexy Ganondorf. Yes. Sorry, I'm just like still on that.
Yeah, no,
oh
stupid sexy Ganondorf. I need to kill you so bad for being so sexy. I got to punish you for your sin of hotness.
Just so sexy, and the kingdom is crying about it. That's how sexy he is. I'm like, I get it, kingdom. I get it.
I think yes, Ganondorf has always been hot. I'm like even Wind Waker Ganondorf was especially daddy. He was very daddy in that game. So I always appreciate a good sexy Ganondorf. All right, moving along.
Playing Ocarina of Time, I'm like, look at all those pixels. They sure are sharp.
They don't shy away from like making it very clear that he's just constantly banging, because they're like, one male is born every 100 years into this female society, and it's like, well, okay, so then he's just it's all on him, huh? All right, well, there's probably some fan fiction out there about that. Honestly, it's not any
Probably.
It just is what it is.
Stake my life on it. Like,
yeah.
There's certainly fanfic out there.
It's like, oh, Zelda. It's not even fan fiction. Just like canonically, Zelda is haram fiction. He's just got harem fiction. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Tam. It's harem fiction.
Less early for you than it is for me. What is
yeah, but I'm just very stupid. That's the difference. That's for me. I'm just always stupid. So that's but yeah, it's like, okay, Nintendo, just go in there. Good for you.
Wild on that one.
All right, let's get out of this one, please. Final
you
Fantasy.
Did that to yourself.
Yes, I need to hit the eject button. Final Fantasy 16 State of Play showcases real-time combat and world exploration. This comes from James Carr at GameSpot. PlayStation and Square Enix have shown off 20 minutes of gameplay from Final Fantasy 16, highlighting combat and world exploration. The State of Play focused on the combat of Final Fantasy 16, some of the story and side content, and the massive icon fights. This new video showcased the real-time action combat, which is relatively new for the franchise. Snippets of Clive, the main character, fighting enemies on the ground were shown, as well as the battles where you control the icon, the massive summons in the game. The action is all in real time, and Clive will learn a ton of different abilities and attacks from the different icons in the world, allowing players to adapt to the combat to their own play style. These abilities can be found in a massive skill tree, which allows you to reset those abilities at any time and even let the game pick your abilities for you. I watched a little bit of this. Bailey, did you have a chance to check out this Final Fantasy 16 20-minute gameplay reveal?
I saw a tiny bit of it, but I'm very excited about it. So I like to not be spoiled,
yes.
Especially with like really visually exciting games like that. Like 20 minutes to me is like I'm gonna be playing these 20 minutes. So let's save it for a lovely little surprise for future Bailey.
I think that was a good call. It is. They are just putting it all out there. They're like, this is
Yeah.
like, we want to show you every little tiny detail of what this game can be like. And I think for fans, it's a good call to be like, I'm not even gonna watch this. For me, it was like, I'll play a Final Fantasy, but I haven't beaten many of them. I'll check in on a Final Fantasy 16 when it comes out. I think this looks pretty impressive. It was almost overwhelming because the action is, especially during the icon fights, it's just kind of visual nonsense in a very cool way. Just these big lumbering giant things that are exploding or constantly freezing, running into each other. And I'm like, it all looks like CGI cutscenes, but it's like, I know you're controlling this stuff. So it's like, okay, how in control am I? I don't have a good sense for that. But either way, it looks really cool. But again, it was like visually overwhelming. And then the combat where you're controlling Clive, which I've gotten over the name, everybody. I'm sorry, I won't complain about the name ever again. Our boy Clive just in there whipping his sword around. He's doing like 1080 spins and stuff like that. It also is overwhelming, but it looks, again, very cool. I think this game's set up to be pretty huge. And I did get some of the sense of what Mike Minotti said on our show before, where it excuse me, it looks a lot like God of War. Is that something that like works for you?
Well, I have the God of War cookbook like right here.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Look at that. Oh, purportedly written by Tyr, which is very funny when you play that game and you find out what happens. But I'm really excited. I'm excited about the real-time combat because, but I do feel like that's sort of a betrayal to like the series. It in general, just it's sort of like a staple of the series is the turn-based combat, which is kind of one of the reasons why I never super got into it, to be fair. So like I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm like, right, a Final Fantasy, you forgot your roots. Like, but I am excited. I think as long as there's a Blitzball mini game, I'll be happy.
Well, I mean, he was asked, the director was asked about that, Yoshi P, I believe. And he's like, this is a very serious revenge story. So it wouldn't make sense for like, oh, I'm going to go get revenge. And now I'm going to go play a fun card game in the meantime. So it's like, I'm not sure how mini game heavy it's going to be, but also producers on games talk that way all the time. And then it's like, they're overselling it. And actually there is a ton of like fun distractions in the game. And
you need a mini game. It doesn't matter how serious your game is. Geralt never smiles once in The Witcher. He still finds time to play Gwent.
Exactly, right. And, Gwent's a serious game too. So you never smile during
Gwent is more serious than The Witcher itself. It is the most serious of many games. I love Gwent. Yeah.
Yes. I think that they should try to make this game fun. That has always been my big thing with JRPGs, where like I like Super Mario RPG because it's clear that Nintendo was like, hey, yeah, make a Mario RPG, but here's our rule: make it actually fun to play. And then later I found out like, no, that's exactly what happened. They did exactly that. So it's like I don't know if that's always the guiding sort of North Star on these games. So but people still enjoy them, and it seems like there's a lot going on here that's very cool. And again, these icon fights look amazing. The combat looks amazing. Looks very intense. It looks like there's a lot to master. So I'm rooting for this one. I think it has a strong chance to come out and be very, very good. So let's see. I think I have the date here. It's coming out. This one's in May or June. When is this one coming out? It's another one that's like coming up very soon. I'll look that up.
It's gonna be such a busy summer.
Yes, it's June. Thank you, Mike. Okay, let's move along here. GameStop employee reportedly fired for leaking Zelda-themed Switch. This comes from Joseph Yadin at GameSpot. GameStop employee was reportedly fired for posting about the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch OLED system before its announcement. The now former employee leaked details on the special edition system just before Nintendo officially announced it on March 28. According to a Kotaku report, the now former employee, Mike, not that one, who requested the publication...
It's always a Mike.
It's always the Mikes. You're right, exactly. I don't trust them. He was initially suspended for leaking the Zelda Switch early before being terminated. When Mike went to work on April 11th, he was terminated by the store manager, who he claims said off the record that Nintendo requested the leaker be fired. Man, geez. Mike said he was aware that leaking the system on social media was against GameStop's... he was unaware that leaking the system on social media was against GameStop's policies, and that he was simply trying to give the community a notice to allow people to pre-order the system as soon as it went live. Historically,
I'm not sure, Mike.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Mike, you gotta know. I appreciate it's
Mike,
like
You already lost the job, buddy. You don't need to do the plausible deniability thing anymore.
Right. I mean, I feel for Mike because it's a lot of these guys are these associates at GameStop are like, yeah, my job is just to make sure people buy stuff, and so I told people you could buy a thing, and I don't get it, but
This guy wanted Reddit gold, and I hope you got it.
yes, but
not getting real gold for a bit.
exactly, and it's like, well, Mike, that's let me tell you something about Nintendo. They will come for you, and they did. They literally came for him and said, please fire this man. I'll say this. I think like this story, there's not a lot to talk about here. I'll just point out that if you want to leak something, I'm out there. Get my DMs. You can come through me. I'll keep you anonymous and I'll keep you safe. That's like my number one priority. So
in journalism school, they were like, never reveal your sources. I'm like, I don't know what kind of investigative journalism you think I'm doing, but I promise. Like,
yes, I'm
ready.
Literally, the idea of anyone getting fired over video game news is an absurdity and would just be hilarious and stupid. And like, yeah, so it's like anything to avoid that is what I'm doing constantly. So just go through the press. That's what we're here for. We can, sort of launder this and keep you anonymous and all that stuff. And yeah, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. You could have kept your job, but hey, lesson learned.
It's possible he didn't love working at GameStop.
I bet he probably didn't. Yes, I bet he probably didn't. That is a place where I bet it is only getting worse to work at.
I'd assume
they already had a ton of anxieties about like, oh, you got to sell all these pre-orders and Game Informer subscriptions and power up rewards cards, and I bet it hasn't calmed down at all. I bet that stuff has only gotten more intense and more sort of anxiety inducing. So shout out to anyone who's working out at GameStop. You guys are
you're on the front lines for us all, and
yes,
we appreciate it every day.
Beleaguered for too long, absolutely.
But leak more stuff. It's funny.
Yeah, DMs are open. Hit me. Ubisoft explains why Ubisoft Plus can succeed without being bundled with Game Pass. Another one from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Ubisoft has shed more light on its game subscription program, Ubisoft Plus, including why the company believes that the Xbox version can succeed on its own as opposed to being bundled with Game Pass. Ubisoft Plus director Philip E. Trimbley told GI.biz that the game subscription market isn't maxed out yet, and Ubisoft is trying to secure its own piece of the pie. Here's a quote from Trimbley. We haven't necessarily seen this market has reached the maximum opportunity here. It's still fairly new across the board that we have subscription offers, even from Xbox or other partners out there. Bailey, I look at this and I think, well, if it's not maxed out yet, an $18 per month subscription for just Ubisoft games is a fast way to make sure it does get maxed out. Because that is a really bizarre thing to be like, I have my $15 per month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription with all this stuff, and now I look over here and it's time to pay another $18 per month for Ubisoft stuff. Yeah, no thanks. I don't know. How are you feeling about this?
I mean, they have a lot of Ubisoft stuff on PlayStation Plus or whatever, but when Skull and Bones finally comes out...
Listen, we're not counting... Yes, that's the game changer, of course.
Naturally, when they finally release that game, which they will one day do, I'm sure they'll have people lining up around the block to pay $18 a month. But I'd rather just buy it the one time. It seems like that to me, it feels very like short-term thinking.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they're trying to recoup some money is what that sounds like. And they didn't do the math based on actual humans. They were just looking at numbers. So they're like, here's what we need to make. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like charging $18 for Peacock. Like, You're like, come on, guys, you're not Hulu. Like,
I think it's exactly right. I think that they are looking at spreadsheets and they are thinking, yeah, we could go make that partnership with Xbox that I'm sure is on the table to put Ubisoft Plus into Game Pass as part of, and it gets like some small percentage of that Game Pass pie. But once you're in there, you can't come back out. Because then it's like the deal just does not look good anymore. It's like, I used to get this as part of Game Pass. Now you want $18 per month? That's insane. You're crazy. Now, a lot of us are thinking they're crazy right now at $18 per month for what they're offering. But I think they think, well, we're at least going to try it and see and just go for it because we're looking at the spreadsheet and it's bad if we go the other way. So we're just going to try it. I think, though, inevitably, this is not some long-term real solution where or like game-changing thing for Ubisoft where this is like their main way of making money. most people are going, especially in gaming, where most people are savvy. It's a savvy audience overall, even though there's a large casual audience. I think the majority are relatively savvy, and especially when it comes to spending money, and they know to wait for deals. And they know the Ubisoft logo on a game box means that in a couple of months, if that, I'm going to be able to get it at a discount. And a significant discount. So why wouldn't I just keep doing that? It's going to make more sense in the long run. And I think Ubisoft's like, well, there's an audience out there that doesn't want to like look for deals, and they just want to have all the games. Yeah, I don't know how big that audience is, though. I really don't see this as being a big moving factor for them in the long term. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I just don't. I hope it works out for them, but I just don't see it being as much of a success as they're perhaps hoping it will be. It just seems like such a steep number.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, it's not like these things are going to stay this price forever. Everything goes up in price over time. So it's like, man, starting at 18 is, they're already doing that. Like, cause the obvious price for something like this, like a little bit ago, would have been $15 per month, and they're just jumping straight to 18. It's like, okay, I guess the value factor that people hand over to Game Pass, a lot of these other ones are not getting that same benefit of a doubt. So, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Microsoft is experimenting with a Steam Deck friendly handheld mode for Windows. This comes from Andrew Cunningham at Ars Technica. The Steam Deck's default Linux operating system and the Proton translation layer can run a surprising number of PC games very well. But to maximize compatibility and flexibility, and to use it like a PC when you're not gaming, installing Windows is always an option. There are also alternate handheld PC designs like the Aya Neo that ship with the Windows by default. But Windows is not an ideal operating platform for Steam Deck, at least not out of the box. Its mouse and keyboard oriented user interface isn't comfortable or convenient to use on a small handheld system like the Steam Deck, and Windows 11 makes some allowances for touchscreens, but its buttons and menus, its bottoms as well, can still be hard to tap on such a small screen. The controller doesn't work outside of Steam, including on Windows touchscreen keyboard, and installing drivers and launching games for the first time can be a pain. Microsoft is aware of these problems running Windows on the Steam Deck and other similar handheld Windows PCs, and at least some developers inside the company have spent time thinking of ways to address them. That's the thrust of a leaked presentation posted in 2 parts by Twitter user HOXOD about a new handheld mode for Windows developed as part of an internal Microsoft hackathon in September 2022. Basically, this is a version of Windows, exactly the version of Windows you already have on your PC, that is built for the interface of a handheld device. And for me, I think this makes a ton of sense. It's something that Microsoft should be working towards, because selling video games makes a lot of money, which is why Steam has invested so much in this, and invested so much that they take huge losses on these Steam Deck systems, which cost way more to manufacture than what they're selling them for. But they ship with Steam on every single one of these, and we expect that people who buy a Steam Deck are going to buy more video games, and we've already seen evidence of that. Microsoft is the default PC gaming platform and has been for forever, and this is the first time something's come along to really maybe put sort of a chink in that armor. And I think that this is something that Microsoft is well aware of. And I also think this is the right move, instead of Microsoft making its own handheld, right? Make Windows work on any handheld and make that become the default going forward. But I don't know, is it too late? Because I love my Steam Deck as is, and I'm not going to install Windows on it no matter how good Microsoft makes it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I've heard great things about the Steam Deck. I don't have one. Tragically, I would like one. Now I'm just thinking about that. But
of course,
I don't know. I'm running Windows on my PC right now, and it's how I play games. And I'm not going to say it runs perfectly, but I'm also not going to pretend that that's Windows' fault. I accidentally installed it in Portuguese. So don't know how I did that, but every time I boot it up, it says "Benviendo," and I'm like, "Benviendo,
that's just
computer."
Pleasant, though. That's just pleasant. It's like you're going on a little trip every time you go to play a game.
Yeah, a little vacation. But I get that they're trying to get in there. I'm not sure what this does for them. Maybe I'm just being dense. Maybe it's too early in the morning for me to wrap my brain around it. But what will they? How will it do what will it give us?
For us, I think the idea is there are a small handful of games that do not run very well on the Steam Deck, not because of performance or power, but because of them being Windows games instead of Linux games. and the translation from Windows to like Destiny 2 is a good example. Destiny 2 could run on Steam Deck, but Bungie doesn't want to because all of its anti-cheat stuff is set up for Windows, and it's got this whole pipeline, this whole stack of software that integrates on Windows very well, and getting that to work on Linux would introduce all of these possibilities for vulnerabilities. And so they're like, we're not even going to support that. If you try to play on Linux, we're gonna ban you. So there are games like that. So it's like if Windows was a good platform for playing handheld games on these handheld PCs, this just wouldn't be an issue anymore. You would just have Windows and you could play those versions of those games. The reason Microsoft wants this is if they could put their store front and center the way Valve has put Steam front and center on Steam Deck, then they have a chance of actually selling games in a way that they've struggled to sell games on PC for forever because everyone just goes with Steam instead. So much so that Microsoft just puts their games out on Steam as well. There's a lot of incentives out there. I don't know if it's that doesn't mean that magically Microsoft can figure this out though, right?
No, I mean, it seems like, to me, it seems just like there's probably a lot of external pressure on Microsoft from like various gaming companies who want to be bought on a different platform, but don't want to compromise their code. And like, I think if more people get to play more games in more places, that's a good thing. So I hope that Microsoft figures it out.
Yeah, I think that this is again, like I said, the right move instead of there's all these rumors about Sony making a handheld and it's going to be a remote play thing, which is what I've heard about repeatedly now.
Sony making a handheld, but they've never done that before.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yes. And you can tell that they are afraid of those waters by the rumors of what this thing's going to be. But like people are like, hey, Microsoft, you should do the same thing. Microsoft could maybe get away with making a dedicated real handheld Xbox. That would be pretty tough though, because it's like, the Xbox Series S is very efficient, but it is not so efficient that you could shrink it down a little bit more and then put it into a handheld that would get more than a half an hour of battery life. That's we're not quite there yet, but we will get there very soon because AMD's power efficiency gains are happening very quickly, but it's still a few years off. So it's like it would be a less powerful system, and that's yet another SKU you're going to make developers develop for. I think they know they don't want to do that. I think the answer here is just look to the PC side, and instead of even Microsoft making their own Surface handheld, which is something they might still end up doing, recognize that because of the Steam Deck and the INEO and these other things, this has become a category of its own akin to laptops and desktops, and you should just make Windows work on those, and then Microsoft could just become the default. I think it's the right path forward for them. And I'm hopeful because I really like a lot of the hardware coming out from Valve and from Aya right now. That these handhelds are actually really impressive. So yeah, anything that makes them more compatible is a good thing.
For sure. Plus, I just was thinking how funny it would be if Sony released like a PS Vita 2 or something, and they had pulled Spider-Man off of the game store and made it a PS Vita 2 exclusive. It would be like time coming full circle.
There it is.
Just looking at Doc Ock's face on a 6-inch screen, just like the old days.
The way God intended, absolutely.
The way God intended.
Yes, I would like that very much.
Fun as hell.
They should just put the old Spider-Man 2 from the PlayStation 2 Xbox days onto.
It should be a Spider-Man only system.
Exactly.
They should only play Spider-Man games.
That game still rules. All right. Finally, we have a little bit of a review roundup for Minecraft Legends. Reviews are in for that. It's a 74 on Metacritic. This comes from My Nintendo News. The reviews have started to come in for the new Minecraft spin-off game from Mojang Studios and Blackbird Interactive, which is Minecraft Legends, which is the real-time strategy version of Minecraft. We got a handful of reviews here, starting with NME, which gave it a 4 out of 5 and said, Minecraft Legends is a highly accessible strategy game that won't challenge fans of the genre. For those who have never quite gelled with it before, though, this is a great intro. Online co-op is a fun diversion, but it's the game's PvP that will offer you the variety needed to keep coming back for more.
A lot of loaded language in that one.
Yes, definitely. If you are this, then that. It's like, oh boy.
This is for all those casuals who couldn't get into it before, I guess.
Yes, this is for all you dummies. You real-time strategy ditzes. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at them. I'm ADHD. There's too much going on. I'm sorry.
It's a lot of stuff all at
Game Informer gave it a 7 out of 10. Minecraft Legends battles to blend its open world adventuring with the intricacies of real-time strategy, a war that sometimes detracts from the overall fun you can have. Even so, its gorgeous environments and clever world building inspire familiar creativity that makes up for its growing pains. Where other strategy games feature more profound complexity, Minecraft Legends has heart, and it's hard to resist its charm. Mojang's first expedition into this genre occasionally holds your hand too tight, but when its grip loosens, there's a vibrant world of combat challenges to discover, ultimately making it an enticing endeavor. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, and then Games Radar gave it a 2.5 out of 5. That one says, Minecraft Legends has good ideas, but it's ultimately held back by the decision to root its strategy action around a central hero. With a limited field of view, few command inputs, and uninteresting AI, Legends fails to generate compelling combat cycles or opportunities for creative thinking. You can see, I think that the that Game Informer review of like it is battling between these various ideas of like we want to be this real-time strategy game with a lot going on. We also have to like kind of pay homage to the master of like this is still a Minecraft game. It should maybe be pretty broadly accessible to a wide audience.
Essentially, the Mario movie of Minecraft games.
Almost exactly that, right? And I think it paid the price for that. It sounds like 74 on Metacritic, though, still pretty good. This sounds like a game that's actually going to be like a little bit of a sleeper hit. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. Do you have any chance of checking this out? Because I'm busy. I don't know if I'm going to get around to it.
Almost certainly not.
Yeah.
It's just not my cup of tea personally, but I'm really happy for people who like Minecraft who have been interested in it but have been like hesitant about getting into it. This seems like a great entry point. And I'm just so pleased for all of you, all dozen of you that are really looking forward to this game. They, you know what? I can't speak badly of them though, because they did email me yesterday and say, do you want some promotional Minecraft Pringles? And I said 100% absolutely. And they overnighted me some Pringles. They're sitting in my mailbox right now.
What?
I'm going to go get them after this.
Are the Pringles like blocky looking or are they just regular Pringles?
They're like mystery stew flavored.
Hell yes.
I think they're just normal Pringles though.
Hell yes. Let's do that. That's fantastic. All right. Well, give me that email. I want some Pringles. All right. I'm going to get to the poll from yesterday. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
Okay.
Here it is. What is the next video game song that should be preserved in the Library of Congress? I gave people 4 options here. The Legend of Zelda theme was number 1 with 53%. Then number 2 was Snake Eater with 19.5%. Then Superman from Tony Hawk got 17%. And Guile's theme from Street Fighter 2 got 10.5%, which I feel pretty disrespectful to Guile's theme.
A little bit. I would have voted for the Legend of Zelda theme, just because I think it Library of Congress. Well, I have a serious answer, but jokey answer would be Tricky from SSX Tricky.
Yeah, you know what? That's fantastic too. I like that a lot. That's very good. That's the Superman of snowboarding game songs. Tricky, absolutely.
Love that game.
All right, I'm gonna come up with another poll right now because I didn't do it before the show because I couldn't think of anything. But I think I got something now. In the meantime, though, while I'm doing that, Bailey, why don't you tell people where they can find you, where you have stuff going up, where the next piece of content you're making is going to be online, all that stuff.
Well, I stream pretty regularly with Emma Fife, although we've taken a step back in this very busy month to, go do our various things. But we'll be back streaming on Fandom shortly, probably in May. I stream on my own. I have an individual channel, Bailey versus Predator, on Twitch.
Jesus Christ, that's such a good name. That's such a goddamn good name.
The ability to spell it easily for really
it's
good
worth it.
pun,
It's so
and it's
worth
working
it.
out.
God, that's fucking good.
I stream pretty much every day except for Fridays, but I'll be streaming next time at 1 p.m.
Well, tell people the kind of games you stream, because you were doing some Nancy Drew, and I know we have Nancy Drew fans in the audience.
I've been playing a lot of Nancy Drew games. I'm trying to play all of them. I have gotten past the good ones, and we're now in the ones that have the really frustrating puzzles that aren't satisfying. But it's great. It's a lot of fun. I have been playing a bartending mini game, and I'm very good at bartending now.
Of course. And then do you think it translates into real life? You think you could go behind the bar and wiggle the bottles? Is that what bartenders say? I don't think that's what bartenders say.
Yeah, they wiggle the bottles.
Wiggle
it's the old bottle wiggler.
Bottle wigglers.
From what I understand from the game, if someone orders a beer, you put it in like a milkshake tin, and then you pour that into a mug. And I think you know, games are real life now, so probably that is accurate.
And
But on
that's
Saturday, we're probably going to be doing some Roller Coaster Tycoon and some Tetris 99.
ooh, very,
So,
very fun. Tetris 99 is a good one to go back to. I like that. That's very cool.
oh yeah, we turned all the sound off and listen to K-pop while we play it. So just a heads up, people.
Beautiful. Perfect. The perfect
It's a
gaming
lot
setup.
of fun.
That's
What
very
I
cool.
really like to do is listen to all my jams and crush people at Tetris.
Have you gotten a Tetris Royale or whatever they call it? Have you won
Yeah,
before? Okay.
a bunch of times.
I've won
I'm
once.
really good at it.
I've won once, and it was like, it took all of my mental faculties, and I
Yeah.
collapsed afterwards, and I've not been able to do it since. So,
I
but
see people in this chat I recognize from my Twitch, and they can vouch. I am freakishly good at Tetris. I say it's like when I was like bragging about Mario Party. Like you guys
Yes,
didn't
I
fully
believe it.
believe me until I kicked Dan's butt, and then
I
it's like no.
100% believed you based on the way you talked about Mario Party, where like you knew every name of every mini game without having to like
Yeah.
reference anything. And I'm like, okay, I'm legit worried. So
I don't think Dan was afraid until he asked me what my
Dan
favorite
doesn't
minigame was.
know
And
how to be
and I
afraid.
looked him dead in the eyes and I said Mecha Marathon, and I did see a spark of fear.
Yes, it was incredible.
So
People
sad we
should
didn't get to
watch
play that one.
People should watch that. Our DreamHack Mario Party. There's a moment where Bailey, instead of stealing a star that she could just steal from Dan, she steals his coins instead, and it's something no one's ever seen before. It was crazy,
Groove.
and literally did put fear into Dan. He did not know what to make of that, and that's a really special moment. It was incredible. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I would have won anyway if I had stolen a star. But
yeah,
no, I think it shook him to his core, and it threw him off his balance in his game and whatever. So maybe
you got style points, which is more important.
Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. All right, I got a poll that we're going to get to on Monday. Are you going to play Minecraft Legends? We're going to keep it easy. You could go yes or no. Go ahead and get that back to me, and we'll talk about it on Giant Bomb on Monday. Speaking of Giant Bomb, we have a UPF later today. We're probably going to get Dan into that crime boss Rock Case City because he hasn't seen it yet, and we just kind of want to see his reaction to it. So we're going to be playing that. What else? We got a new Play It Forward going up on Monday, and then this whole past week it's just been a ton of stuff from when we've been traveling, and then all the stuff we've been doing since we got back. I'm really proud of what we did with Connectivity Compadres, where we got Four Swords Adventures working and online, and have 4 of us. That was a ton of fun. Check that out. And Blight Club, we started a new season of that where Mike is playing through RoboCop. So check out Robo Mitch. Episode 1 is up now. It was a good, fun week. A lot of fun stuff. Bailey, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for making me wake up so early. It was fun.
It's the only thing that makes me feel alive is knowing that other people are miserable. That's how I do it.
I had this moment of panic last night where I was like, wait, does he mean 8 a.m. my time zone or his time zone? And I was like, if it's his time zone, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I definitely switched between them, and at a certain point I was like, I'll just go to her time zone, and I didn't specify, and I'm like, that's a problem, but oh well. That's working online remotely these days.
I was like, there's no way my beloved coworker is going to ask me to be on camera at 5 in the morning.
Yes,
it
and
just simply will not happen.
I was not doing that, although yes, I don't blame you for like wondering for a second, like what the fuck, Jeff. All right, everybody, you're the best audience in gaming. I had a lot of fun this week. We'll do it again next week. Until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.